this urge to stomp on the enemy with everything I got. Let's go.
500 years.
500 years.
And this is confirmed by NASA. This is not something that a religious think tank put together. This is something that you can check on the internet. This is what NASA says has happened, and this is what they say is going to happen.
Well, it's 1917. It's the end of the First World War. A plan's established for a Jewish state, the Declaration of Balfour. Then again, in 48, it's the end of World War II. Japan has just been nuked. Palestine's been given to the Jews. God said he put signs in the sun and moon to accompany all the things he's done. The four lunar and solar eclipses, and they all fall on Jewish feast days to show the world he's got everything under control. Let's jump forward to 67. The Jews are in the Six-Day War. They're heavily outnumbered, heavily outgunned, but they're back in Jerusalem once more. God said he put signs in the sun and moon to accompany all the things he's done. The four lunar and solar eclipses, and they all fall on Jewish feast days to show the world he's got everything under control. And there's another lunar solar tetrad coming in 2015. Everybody needs to know what the coming event may be.
Four blood moons have occurred in 1493, 94, fall of Spain. The Jews expelled from them, and Columbus discovers America, what the Bible calls it the infant nation.
Right.
1949 to 1950, it follows Israel being declared a nation.
State.
And then a nation state. And then 1967, 68, the Six-Day War. Those are the last three times
Yes.
that four blood moons have occurred.
Right.
Coming back. He's coming back. There's gonna be the mother of all wars, but he's coming back. He's coming back. Oh, he's coming back. There's gonna be the mother of all wars, but he's coming back. He's coming back. He's coming back. There's gonna be the mother of all wars, but he's coming back.
And so the next time it occurs actually is starting next spring.
Starts April the 15th, 2014, next spring, and it happens on Passover. The second blood moon next year will be October the 8th on the Feast of Tabernacles. And then in 2015, it will happen again on Passover. and then it will happen the last time, September the 15th, and that will be on the Feast of Tabernacles. The irony of what it takes to get the sun, the earth, and the moon in a perfect alignment to have a blood moon, and then for those blood moons to be on this exact date is something that just is beyond coincidental. The Bible very clearly says, Joel the 2nd chapter says, the day of the Lord will be as when the sun refuses to shine. The significant thing is that between these 4 blood moons will be a total solar eclipse, and the moon will be turned to blood. That is exactly repeated in Acts the 2nd chapter. It is repeated by Jesus Christ in the book of Luke, the 21st chapter, when he said, you will see the sun, signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. And when you see these signs, lift up your head, your redemption draweth nigh.
So you're saying that this next 4 blood moons that's starting next spring, is this the end times, what we're looking for, or do you not know what is being communicated with this?
Technically, prophetically, the end times began with the outpouring of Pentecost 2,000 years ago. So we have been in the end times when you believe the dispensational 7-day period of time that equates to the 7 days of generation. There are 7 ages and dispensations. We have been in the end times a long time. But when we are reaching that point in time when world history is about to change, we are entering that zone, and it's going to change forever. It's going to change dramatically, and it's going to involve Israel, because it has involved Israel in 1492, 1948, 1967. And each time it has gone from tragedy to triumph. 1492, as you said, the Jewish people were kicked out of Spain with the Edict of Expulsion by King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. America was discovered, and the Jewish people had a home until Israel became the state. In 1948-49, Israel was a state. The thing that preceded that was the Holocaust, a time of tears and tragedy. 1967 was the Six-Day War, and then Jerusalem became a part of the state.
But what do we know what it's going to happen? I mean, we get a lot of prophecy, a lot of end-time prophecies. I get the books a lot, but there's no telling what is actually going to happen. I mean, you could not have predicted a Six-Day War. You could not have predicted a lot of the things that happened after the Second World War with the, with the partition for Israel. Is there any way to predict actually what's going to happen, and it will happen after the last 4 blood moon, which would be in 2015?
There is a sequence of prophetic events that the Bible says will happen, but it does not give a when. It just says, when you see these signs like this, lift up your heads and rejoice, your redemption draweth nigh, meaning that the end of this age is coming and the Messianic age is going to appear. How long is that? No one knows.
Well, it's a fascinating topic, and I urge people to not only check out your book, but also check out what's on the internet, because there's a lot of stuff about 4 blood moons that people can check out for themselves and see what they think. I mean, there are a lot of people who just poo-poo any kind of end-time prophecy. There are a lot of theologians that say that you can't predict what's going to happen. But the fact is that this is an astronomical occurrence that did occur, that happened at this time, and that the next one is going to start happening next spring. So it's fascinating. And one last thing, though, for the first time in history, I believe, Hanukkah is on Thanksgiving.
For the first time in thousands of years, and it will not happen ever again.
Is that part of what's changing in this world, too? God's trying to communicate with us something, or is this not even related?
Well, I can't address that because that's not something I've researched. But I have researched this backwards and forwards. And the concept that these 4 blood moons happen on a high holiday 4 times in a row with a solar eclipse in the middle is beyond the null hypothesis of probability. This is something that the Bible, using the sun, the moon, and the stars as a communication system to humanity, says something is about to change, and world history is going to change forever.
And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out of my Spirit upon all flesh. And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. And on my servants and on my handmaidens I will pour out in those days of my Spirit, and they shall prophesy. And I will show wonders in heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before that great and notable day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved.
Are you serious? Are you serious? You know, we've got some powerful information. I told you I would share with you the dates of the 4 blood moons that's going to be over top Jerusalem, and the 2 solar eclipse that are going to be over Jerusalem, and the significant feast days and special days that they land on, which could not happen except they're designed by God. And also the covenant that's going to be getting worked on now, as John F. Kerry, the United States Secretary of State, will announce tomorrow morning that the peace talks are going to resume. And it's being confirmed now by the Palestinians. It's being confirmed even by Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, there's been some pushing and shoving on what everybody agreed to why they would come to the table. But Palestinians are hopeful for the pre-1967 borders, which is what John Kerry and Barack Obama are pushing. But at the same time, the EU, I think, has leaked it when they said, look, starting in the year 2014 through the year 2020, we're going to recognize Israel and only do business with Israel in the according to the 1949 Armistice Agreements border, which is known as the Green Zone. And that's a little different than the 67 border. So what I believe, and count it up. Someone said, how do you know it's 7 years, Begley? Okay, here we go. It will begin on 2014, January 1st. 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Those 7 full years, the EU will recognize Israel according to the 1949 Armistice Agreement. So the reason that the two sides are willing to get together, apparently after Ramadan, sometime in late August, is based on the fact that they've at least in principle agreed to something in between now, or where the borders of Israel are now, and the pre-1967 borders, somewhere in between, which could be very similar to the Green Zone, or what's known as the 1949 Armistice Agreement. I don't think it will exactly line up that way, but if both sides are already thinking at least that, then you've got plenty of reasons to come to the table. That's why the Arab League, 22 nations, are excited about the announcement tomorrow, and the other 35 Muslim nations will also agree. So this would be a 57 nation agreement plus Israel and Palestine would make up the full agreement of many people. All right, now, having said that, let me tell you a little bit about why while these things are happening in the Middle East, coinciding with it are biblical signs in the heavens. And Jesus said in the last days in Luke 21:25, for there shall be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Sign this agreement based on the EU's recommendations, and I have an article right here on the EU. If they sign it based on the EU's recommendations of the pre-1949 borders that was approved in the Armistice Agreement, and the fact that the EU announced yesterday that they are going to only recognize Israel based on the 1949 borders, And we're going to start recognizing you this way in trade and in grants, starting in the year 2014 through the year 2020, or believe it or not, 7 years. Is it possible that we are getting ready to see the agreement signed late in this year, bringing us in effective 2014 and the beginning of a 7-year period, while having 4 blood moons and 2 solar eclipses and the comet Ison? Are you serious? I don't know. But I'm just saying something biblical is going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. Give your life to Jesus Christ. We are absolutely living in the last days.
April 15th, begins the prophetic lunar tetrad, which I have been calling the tribulation tetrad, because what I believe that this is that the Jews came back into their land, and this marked that event. The Jews got Jerusalem back, their capital, their city, the holy city back. They got the Holy Land back, I'll just say it this way. And then they got the holy city back. And this one, I believe they will get the Holy Temple back. Holy Land, Holy City, Holy Temple. And if that is the case, Revelation 11, numerous places actually in Scripture say that the temple will be rebuilt. Revelation 11, which is a mid-trib chapter, shows that temple. So, in Revelation 11, we've got... in the middle of the tribulation period, we've got a temple, and it has not been built yet, but it needs to be built, and I believe that it will be built, starting to be built in this time period, because halfway into it, the Antichrist defiles it.
He's coming back. There's gonna be the mother of all wars, but he's coming back. He's coming back. Oh, he's coming back. There's gonna be the mother of all wars, but he's coming back. He's coming back. He's coming back. There's gonna be the mother of all wars, but he's coming back. This is the strangest thing I ever tried to say. Some things don't naturally